we are preparing budgets. And the specific budget work we're going to do is found in problem 8.36 on page 438. And we have a lot of data here, and we are going to use it to create a budget for the months of January, February, and March. And we're going to create a lot of different budgets. We're just not going to do a cash budget. That's not something we're doing in this class. But we're going to learn how to budget all the other stuff. I love budgeting. It's very common sense. All right, so we got the data that we need to prepare all these budgets. So the first two budgets we're going to use or prepare is the sales budget and the production budget, right? So kind of, there's sort of an order you have to do, right? So you have to predict how many sales you're going to have, so you'll know how many you need to make, so you can set up that production budget. So here's an estimate someone has made. They think in these months, this is how many will sell. All right, so that's how many we think we're going to make. And the sales budget, we'll need that, and we'll need the selling price. So they give us a lot of data, and they tell us the selling price is $110. All right, so we're selling harnesses, wiring harnesses for trailers, and we know how many we're going to need to, we think we're going to sell each month, and we know how much they cost to sell. So that's all we really need to do our sales budget, and we'll just do that right now. All right, so here's our sales budget outline, right? So we're going to do sales budget. So first of all, you put down how many units, right? And so right straight from the book, they tell us 10,000. Somebody has to estimate this. You know, typically there's going to be some kind of marketing department who has an idea of how many you're going to sell, right? They do research, and they know from past history how much you sell, and they know how much they think they can sell, and they come up with this estimate. This is just an estimate. And so that's they think over that quarter they're going to sell 33.5. Very typical to do budgets quarterly. The unit selling price is 110. And 110. All right. So 10,000 times 110 is 1.1 million. And 10,005 times 110 is 1,155,000. And 13,000 times 110 is 1,430,000. Of course, these are all dollars. That's just our friend Trudy. She thinks she needs to go outside and bark at something. My street has a lot of people going to the beach on it, so she thinks she needs to bark at all of them. That is just not true. All right, so what I've done is I've taken for January, February, and March, plugged in how many they think they're going to sell, plugged in the sales price per unit, and multiplied it all the way down. Over here are your totals for the quarter. 33.5, still same price per unit, and we, over that quarter, are going to sell $3,685,000 worth of stuff. Harnesses is what they are. Okay, very good. The next budget we're going to do, well, if I'm going to sell this many, I need to make sure I have that many on hand, right? And also, I need to have a little bit of extra, right? Because, you know, it's just an estimate. And we certainly don't want to run out, right? We don't want to have what's called a stock out. So, because that means, oh my goodness, we could have sold some more. So we're going to have 20% extra, all right? So we want our finished goods inventory to have a little overlap of 20% for the next month's sales. So what that's meaning is I'm going to have to budget to make sure I have enough harnesses that in January I take my beginning inventory and I'm going to sell 10,000, so I need enough to cover that 10,000 from beginning inventory, and I need to make enough, and then I need to have an ending inventory of 20% of that 10.5. So I need to do that for every month. All right, so I need to figure that out. So what we're going to do is set up a production budget. So first thing we're going to put down is our unit sales, right? Because we know that, and that's the same as up here. I mean, right? That's how many we're going to sell. So we think we're going to sell 10,000 in January. It's 10,500 in February. In March, we think we're going to sell 13,000 for our total of 33,500. So obviously, we're running a production line. We're going to make things as we go. So we have to make sure we have enough to cover what we're going to sell, plus our desired ending inventory. All right, so we want to have 20% of next month's sales. Okay, that's wonderful. So we had to calculate that amount, right? So the desired ending inventory in January is going to be 20% of 10,500, right? So you would just figure that out. 10500 times 0.2 is equal to 2100. All right, so we need to have 2100 in our warehouse to cover us in the month of January. And so that means 10,000 plus 2100. I need to have 12,100. All right, but I have some in stock that are left over from December, hopefully, and they tell us that in the book. They tell us in their Part A, finished goods inventory on January 1 is 900. So I have 900 units on hand, and I subtract that out. So that means I need to produce 11,200 units in January. So I need to schedule for my factory to produce 11,200 harnesses. So now I go to the next one, right? So I know that I need 10,500. I know that my desired ending inventory is 20% of 13,000, which is 2,600, right? So 10,500 plus 2,600 is 13,100, right? And how many am I going to have in stock? Well, I'm shooting for 2,100, right? So hopefully my ending inventory will be 2,100. So 13,100 minus 2,100 means I need to make 11,000 in February. All right, so for March, I think I'm going to sell 13,000. My desired ending inventory is going to be based on April, and they do tell us April. They tell us in April we think we're going to sell 16,000. So that means I need to have 3,200 left at the end of March. So 13,000 plus 3,200 is 16,200. All right. And hopefully at the end of February I'll have those 2,600 left. And 16,200 minus 2,600 is 13,600. So that's how many I need to make in March, right? And I'll just total. So that means at the end of the quarter, I need to have 3,200, right? And the total that I need to construct over the whole quarter is 36,700 less my 900 beginning inventory, so 35,800. And if you add these all together, that means during the quarter I need to produce that many. All right, so we've got our sales budget and our production budget. So now that I know how many I need to produce in each month, now I can figure out what materials I need. So next video we'll go on to materials purchases budget.